The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Well, hello and welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen. Sunday night, RFC, Next Gen, Light Electric Company, Arkham Menards K&N Series here at Laguna, Seca. Got myself, Darkside Dave, in the cave in Turn 3 Racing Network booth with my good buddy Cody. Side by side, this is going to be a crazy one for us, Cody. I don't think I've ever really been here for a race.
Well, Dave, I can honestly say I have never been here before, and taking a look at this racetrack, it is absolutely amazing. I don't think the drivers will share the same spectacle when it comes to that, but the track itself, built back in 1957, Army Corp engineers set this track up for a test course, and look what it's turned into. It's turned into a full-fledged racing facility, and tonight, we are going to see some action, and for the first time all year, Dave, we're going to see cars go left and right, and it's going to be a challenge for all these drivers here this evening.
That it will. I mean, we've seen them go left and right, but that's when they were spinning. They're going to be going around left and right here. I'm sure we'll see a couple spinners as well. Track very treacherous. I had the opportunity to turn a few laps earlier today with some of the guys, and I tell you what, probably about the top 27 or so. I don't even think we have 27, but if we did, they would still be faster than me.
Oh, yeah, and I didn't even get in the car. I do good to try to turn left on a good day, so I'm just going to keep myself right here in the booth. We got a great vantage point of this racetrack, and Dave, there is a lot of very interesting points that you're going to see on this racetrack, but this is going to be one of those kind of races to where patience, you've got to have patience. And Dave, we've seen in our 3 races so far this season, turn 1, there has been absolutely no patience. They're going to have patience tonight to even get through turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, I mean the big thing that these drivers are also going to have to keep on in their mind is there's no full course cautions here. So if you wad it up going into turn 1 or turn 2 or very early here, you're going to put yourself way behind the 8 ball. Only local yellow, just like road course racing. So no red flag going to be had here. If you're junk, you're just going to go back to pit lane. So it's going to be a fast-paced race out here for a lot of the drivers. Going to have to make at least one pit stop is what I've been hearing out of most of the teams down there. And Cody, with about we're right at about the 5-minute marker. So, excuse me, left here in a happy hour before we set things off to go qualifying. Your point standings coming into tonight's race here at Laguna Seca. Chris Medford sitting on top of your points charts with 124 points. Lance Yancey just behind him with 121. Rounding out your top 3, Tyler Hilton. Steve Baker in 4th, 5th place. That double O of Roy Hyde. Thomas Quattlebaum Jr. sitting in 6th. Dale Osmond in 7th. That's good old KD. He's going to look to try to come up through the points. There he is, 94 points. Small gap to the drivers in front of him. Then Douglas Wasaki also right there in his 34 machine. Derek Robinson in the 9th place, rounding out your top 10 in the point standings. The 80 of Brian Littleton sitting at 87 points. So very close still here early in the season, as we're only on round number 4, I believe it is, here tonight.
Yeah, Dave, and for you viewers at home that are looking, thinking, well, where is last week's winner? Well, last week's winner is way down in the points after a big points penalty earlier in the season. But Chris Berg, one of those drivers that I feel like if anybody can climb out of that deficit, I feel like it could be him. But we come into this race, Dave, with 3 different winners. We're looking for our 4th straight tonight. And I'm telling you what, if you looked at the practice times, we've got some drivers that are up there towards the top that we don't normally see, including Jeff Vandervoort. He is the quickest right now by far in this final round of practice.
Yeah, and Vandervoort, one of those road course aces. We see Jeff from time to time here in the RFC NEXTGEN K&N Series, but he is definitely one of those road course ringers, kind of like a AJ Allmendinger, Boris said, but with better results.
Yeah, and sometimes that makes a big difference, especially coming into this race tonight. But I've seen a lot of drivers kind of following him. That's something I've seen through this round of practice. Brandon Combs is one of the drivers I've seen that was kind of following him around the racetrack. Lance Yancey for a little bit too. And you know, that's how it works out at some of these road courses. Sometimes you just have to follow somebody that knows how to get around a place to help you out throughout the end of the race.
Yeah, and I mean, there's no harm in learning from the fast drivers, especially at road courses, and especially a track like this. The gearing's a little bit low, so you're not really coming out of third gear very much. Got to be very careful when you're on the brakes, downshifting in the second, and some drivers electing to go all the way to first, especially through, I believe that's turns like 7, 8, 9, the downhill S, if you will, corkscrew. Some might want to call it, not quite sure. I'm an oval guy, but, you know, whatever. If it was Monza, I could tell you exactly what turn they were.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Dave. And that's one of the places on this racetrack that I feel you're going to see somebody try to outbrake somebody. And if you're not familiar with that, the whole deal with that is to get into a turn and get position before somebody else gets there. Now, it's a great move if it works. But, Dave, if it doesn't work, it may be one of the most dangerous moves you see thrown on a road course.
Yeah, and there's a lot of dangerous corners on this track, too, to be throwing some dangerous moves. And, I mean, we're right at the cusp of switching things over to a happy hour, just about. I mean, switching over to qualifying from happy hour there. I can spit it out here eventually. So we're going to take a brief, maybe 20, 30-second commercial break before we get ready to head off into qualifying here at Laguna Seca for round number 4 in the Light Electric Company RFC NEXTGEN Arca Menards K&N Series. Was that 30 seconds? I think that was 30 seconds. Probably a little faster than that, but yeah, we're back. Well, Cody, I think we're going to see a battle for who's going to take the second spot here in qualifying. If Jeffrey Vandervoort can replicate any of his time lapse here in happy hour, look for him to be on top of the speed charts. Things now switching over into qualifying. We'll see who we've got out there. Looks like the 38 of Derek Robinson slowly making his way to the end of pit road. There you see him just kind of hanging out at the end of pit road. Justin Walters, the 46, coming down and out onto the track. So we'll ride around here with a lap with the 46. Who you got your eye on out there? Is the 46 kicking up some dust?
Well, I actually had my eye on the 46 now that he's filled our screen full of dust as we see Justin Walters come out on the racetrack. He's looking for his first career pole, and it looks like as he does that, he's going to pull in. So I think I'm going to have to go to our quickest driver in practice, just Jeff Vandervoort. He is on the racetrack, and he's ready to see if he can lay down a quick time here in this qualifying.
Yeah, and these are going to be some very, very long laps. I mean, about a minute and a half just to get around this place, and that's going to be an extremely quick time to get around here in a minute and a half. So driver's going to have about 5 minutes worth of track time just trying to put in 2 time laps, and I think these drivers only get 1 attempt at a lap after their up to speed lap. So look for that one and only lap to have to count. And keep in mind, Cody, if these drivers get a 1X and an off-track penalty or any type of penalty on that flying lap, that is going to negate the entire lap and just throw it away, and they're kind of out of luck.
Yeah, exactly. Eric Blunt looks like he's going to be the first driver to hit the line, and he is officially on the clock. Eric Blunt, that number 6 City Machine. Oh, hot on the brake pedal. We'll see if he can get it down into 1, and he cannot. And the first car that makes an attempt at a first lap is off into the sand trap.
Yeah, off into the sand trap just ahead of that 72 of Jeffrey Vandervoort. We continue to watch him as he's one of the faster drivers. There you see him utilizing the entire track through this first few corners. Not sure what number that is, but I can tell you where he's at on track. Going to come around this right-hander, soft right-hander here, and then head down this short chute. Have to get on the brakes, make this left-hander nice and smooth as the 72 on the uphill now.
Yeah, 72 working his way, looks like into turn 6 before he gets into that straightaway that's going to come swooping down into what you mentioned, the corkscrew, 7, 8, and 9. As he breaks down hard braking, he's going to have to come to almost a complete stop. And Dave, for these cars weighing as much as they do, that's a challenge to get them turned into that corkscrew.
Yeah, but I just seen him throw that car through the corner like no other driver has been able to do all day long. Drivers turning some laps out here pretty much all day long, Cody. So track has undergone quite a bit of changes throughout the course of the day. But the 72 has remained at the top of the speed charts the entire time, and here he is crossing the line. He's going to go to the top of the board, as I believe he is the only driver to put in a time lap of 1:27.456. And Cody, I'm telling you, that's going to be a very hard one to beat.
Yeah, it is, and that's almost as fast as he run in open practice. There's Katie Osmond. He'll go to second quick with a 1:29. So look at the distance between first and second. We all know that Katie Osmond can wheel these race cars. Dustin Ping in at third with a 1:31. 1:31 for Dustin Ping. So now make it 4. Now 5 drivers on the board, but Jeff Vandervoort definitely the class of the field so far.
Yeah, almost a 2-second advantage, about a 1.9 difference on the lap time there. So a lot of cushion in the bag there for Vandervoort. Looks like he's going to be on the pole here. I don't think anybody's going to be able to crank out a lap almost 2 seconds faster.
No, Dave, and if he does hang on, it will be his first career pole here in the RFC NEXTGEN Light Electric ARCA Series. He's hanging on right now. Katie Osmond still second quick. Third quickest is Troy Radford with a 1:29. They're separated by about 3/100ths of a second. So drivers putting laps down. Everybody's kind of staying within that, anywhere from 1:3 to 1:2. Gordon Larson Jr. slowest right now with a 1:49. That's still pretty quick around this joint.
That it is, and it looks like I was wrong. It looks like the driver's getting 2 times laps. And Jeffrey Vandervoort shutting it down. He's not worried about putting in a faster time as we continue to watch the 28 of Brandon Combs make his way through the corkscrew. Combs sitting 6th on the pylon right now. We've still got over half of the field yet to hit the track in qualifying. Some drivers probably just electing to grid where they wherever they put them.
Yeah, and I'm noticing a trend. I'm watching the monitor here out of the left corner of my eye. Well, there Katie Osmond got a little bit quicker. It was looking like the first lap, definitely the quickest for all these drivers that have been out on the board. Jeff Vandervoort didn't get any quicker in lap 2. Katie Osmond did. Steve Baker now, he was a winner earlier this season. He's jumped up to third. He's in the 1:29s. And also Troy Radford, he's in the 1:29s. Still crazy to believe Troy and KD, neither one of those drivers have went to victory lane yet this year.
And actually going to go back now to the City Financial number 6 ARCA Menards K&N Chevy Impala of Eric Blount as he makes his way up, I believe he's up the hill. Now hitting the corkscrew. There he is, downshifting, going back to the right-hander. Ooh, a little bit of a tail wiggle right there. Still heading downhill on that left-hand side. And now I believe that's... Oh! Almost around. Can he save it through the dirt? And that's going to disallow that time lapse. So we'll head out with the 76 of Chuck Mobley.
Yeah, Chuck Mobley rolling out onto the racetrack, going to get his first lap. I love that paint scheme he's throwing out there this week. Kind of a mixture of the old classic Kevin Harvick GM car as he, winds it down, comes around. He's going to go to the flag for his first time lap. Looks like Chuck Mobley will cross the line, and his time is going to put him officially 13th quickest on the board. So 15 of our drivers have hit times so far. That's about halfway through, Dave.
Yeah, about half of the drivers turning in a lap. Just a little over 3 minutes, or just under 3 minutes, I should say, remaining here in qualifying. Nobody even close to the fast man, Jeffrey Vandervoort. Man, I tell you, Cody, it is going to be, it's going to be fun to watch him, but not so fun for the rest of the field.
No, that's very true. But I tell you what, Steve Baker is the closest right now. He just now ran a 1:28. A 1:28 for Steve Baker. He's quickest, so 1,000th off so far of Jeff Vandervoort. So there's the top two somewhat close. But yeah, Dave, you're exactly right. Jeff is the class of the field right now, and that 72 machine is absolutely flying around this road course here in California.
And looking through timing and scoring, it looks like don't have too many more drivers out there, and doesn't look like we've got anybody in the vicinity of being able to dethrone Jeffrey Vandervoort off of the top of the speed chart. So we're going to step away for just a brief commercial break here on Turn 3 Racing Network. We'll be right back with the Laguna Seca 35, and then we'll head down trackside for the singing of our national anthem. So don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We will be, well, maybe. I think we will now. What do you say? Let's go.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly wailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and
trackside, and if that don't get you ready for some green flag racing action, some road course action. Oh, what's going on there with the driver that was in the second position? That's interesting. Wow, not really sure what's up with that one, but nonetheless, sorry, got me a little thrown off here, Cody. We'll hit your starting grid as the field behind that Porsche pace car. Inside row pole position, the 72 of Jeffrey Vandervoort. To his outside, the 55 of Steve Baker. Row number 2, the 88 of Dale Osmond, and the 49 of Troy Radford. Lining up row number 3, the 84 of Chris Medford, and the 28 of Brandon Combs. Row number 4, Dustin Ping, followed by Thomas Light. Row number 5, 83 of Brandon Medford, and rounding out your top 10, the 01 of Gordon Larson Jr.
Rolling off in row number 6, it'll be the number 11. It'll be the number 48 of Jimmy Hetrick and Chuck Mobley in the 76. Row number 7 in the 46 machine, it'll be Justin Walters, and it'll be Derek Robinson in the 14th spot. Row number 8, it'll be Travis Arthur in the 86, Eric Blunt in the 6th. In row number 9, it'll be Damon Cox in the 57 and Melvin Young in the number 10 car. And in row number 10, it will be Rick Reinert in the 19 machine and David Schmidt Jr. in the 08.
Lining up row number 11 inside lane, the 80 of Brian Littleton, followed by the 77 of Lance Yancey. Row number 12, Cody Terry in his 22 machine, and the 94 of Joshua Caudle. Row 13, the 57 of Damon Cox, and the 10 of Melvin Young. What in the world? I just got all kind of confused. No, Thomas Quattlebaum Jr. and Brian Snare. Roy Hyde going to round out the field, getting ready to go green flag racing for the first time here at Laguna Seca. Green flag in the air, and away we go once again. Here on Turn 3 Racing Network, Jeffrey Vandervoort now cresting the hill down into the first left-hand turn corner. Everything looks to be okay so far through the track. All the drivers getting woed up, keeping an eye on everything. Oh, looks like we've got a few drivers with some issues. Brandon Combs, Thomas Light, Dustin Ping, all involved in an early one. We'll take a look back here real quick as the field continues to snake their way around this course. Ooh, see some drivers just getting stacked up. Thomas Light, Brandon Combs, and then others just kind of piling in, nowhere to go. We'll rejoin the field back up at the front with the driver running in that third position, Dale Osmond, as Troy Radford and Jeffrey Vandervoort lead the field.
Yeah, Dave, and there we go again, going into turn 1. Somebody a little hot on the brakes. Somebody else behind him can't slow down, and you see what happens. But right now, your top 3, it is Jeff Vandervoort leading Troy Radford and Katie Osmond. They are nose to tail, and you got to have to go a little ways back before you find Gordon Larson Jr. in 4th.
Yeah, those top drivers getting away from the carnage early here in turn number 1, and that's going to set themselves up with a pretty good gap. They're just going to have to kind of race it out amongst themselves, kind of manage the gap as we continue green flag racing. And only local yellow, so we're not going to really ever see that caution flag fly as we watch Eric Blunt into the last corner. Makes it around. Nice corner right there, late on braking as we see the rear of the 98 of Thomas Light. It's kind of flapping in the wind right there, his bumper cover about to fly off.
Yeah, Dave, and I'm watching a battle right now for the 5th and 6th spot. Chuck Mobley, he's leading Jimmy Hendrick. They are working just into it. Looks like turn number 3. That is one of the really good battles right now. Hendrick closing in but can't quite get there, and then just not able to make the move. Looking for a good braking point as they cruise now. It looks like down into turns 5 and 6.
Yeah, and looking all over the track, there's slight battles all over. You got drivers a little bit further in the field that are on top of each other. Eric Blount and Chris Medford right here. Watching these two drivers battle that out on the uphill, heading into the corkscrew into turns 7, 8, 9. Ooh, almost a little off-track moment there for Blount as he makes his way by Hetrick, cresting the hill now. Gonna have to get hard onto the brakes.
Yeah, and that battle is going on, and just off camera. Oh, and Eric Blunt looks like he goes around in the corkscrew. I was just about to say Cody Terry got into the rear bumper of Lance Yancey and spun him around. So there is a lot of action going on, and there is so many turns here and just two of us. So we're going to try to keep up with everything going on here at Laguna Seca.
Yeah, I mean, there's cars everywhere. Turns everywhere, cars everywhere. Excuse me, some drivers taking it easy, some drivers going a little bit harder at it. Lance Yancey with some more off-track incidents. As we're just going to continue to jump around the field here, try to see if we can't highlight a few things as we watch Brian Littleton battle it out with Brian Snare. Snare just behind Littleton's 80 machine in his 45 as they head back down towards turn number 1.
Yeah, they battling it out, and the leaders are just slowly moving away. Jeff Vandervoort putting down laps. I know you think about that, how many laps we've completed, but he is putting down laps almost similar to what he did in qualifying. So that 72 U.S. Army machine is on rail. Second place, Troy Radford, Katie Osmond in the third spot, as the top three somewhat have spread themselves out from the field.
Yeah, and you talk about putting down laps as fast as his qualifying laps, and that last lap was actually not only his fastest, but the fastest of the race. So on lap 2, that's when he cranked out that fast lap of a 1:28.53, and nobody even in the vicinity, almost over 2 seconds on the fastest time there for the fastest lap here today. So Vandervoort out there kind of in his own world, in his own area code, if you will. We'll take a look back up front with him. Looks like, well, Sunday driving for him. Nobody around whatsoever. He enjoys a 6.3 second race lead.
Dave, that battle I was talking about earlier for fifth is heating up. Jimmy Hetrick's all over the back bumper of Chuck Mobley. Almost got into him there in turn 11. And now they're going to bring one more driver to the battle. Here comes the points leader, Chris Medford. He is now hunting for the top 5 spot. It's 3 cars under a blanket into turn 1.
All of them making it through one fairly easy. Mobley leads this trio of cars. These K&N cars not really set up for this particular style of a track. A lot of elevation changes, a lot of braking points. The braking points here, Cody, are very crucial. Wheel hop is a nightmare here as we continue to watch Hetrick, Mobley, and Medford battle it out. Medford still right there trying to take that spot away from Hetrick, but Hetrick not easing up one bit, still right there on that rear bumper of Chuck Mobley as they work their way up the hill back towards the corkscrew.
Yeah, they'll dive into that corkscrew now. Hetrick kind of backs up to get a little bit of momentum. He closes in to within a car length, and they come down to a crawl, down to about 30 miles an hour. They get back on the loud pedal, and this time here comes Chris Medford. Medford is on the back bumper of that 48 Lowe's machine, and now this 3-car race really starts to heat up as they head towards turn 11.
Yeah, still that 3-car battle, still a half car or less between some of the drivers side by side. Now late on the brakes to the inside goes Medford. 2 for 1 in the final corner for Medford. Put him into that 5th spot.
Wow, you want to talk about a move. We talked about kind of out-braking someone. He just pulled out a coupon at the Dollar Tree and racked up 2 for 1. Chris Medford, the points leader, is moving up, and now he's up into that 5th spot.
Dollar Tree? Dollar Tree, huh?
You liked that, didn't you?
Not even General?
Nope.
That's all right. General Tire's not the official tire sponsor here. And the Light Electric Company, RFC, NEXTGEN, Arca Menards, K&N Series. Anyway, it's a Hoosier.
Really good tires, I will say.
I don't know.
Finally, we're starting to see our leader work with some cars around him, but unfortunately for the tail end of the field, it's lap traffic. He just got around Melvin Young, and now he sorts down onto the front straightaway, across the line, putting lap number 5 on the board, heading into lap 6.
Yeah, and only 30 laps remaining here for your race leader, Jeffrey Vandervoort, in his 72. He's hasn't had to deal with really anything He's got a little while to go before he's going to run back into some lap traffic with Lance Yancey just in front of him. David Schmidt running in the 20th spot. Rick Reinert, Damon Cox all the way back in 18th. So a lot of big names here struggling very, very early, but anything can happen here, Cody. You hit the sand, the gravel just a little bit, and you're just kind of off sledding. And that's what it feels like. It feels like you're just on a snow sled, and you're not stopping until you hit a wall.
Yeah, I don't know what happened just a second ago. Yeah, now I do. I'm seeing the replay in our other booth. Troy Radford totally missed turn 1, and him and Melvin Young went off the racetrack. So Troy Radford totally off the racetrack, but he's still in third. That's how big of a gap he has back to Gordon Larson Jr.
Yeah, I'm going to take a look at that real quick. Got it queued up. Both him and Gordon Larson Jr. off track. Both of them sliding the car sideways, just trying to get it back going, trying to get it back to the track. That was about a 10-second loss for both of those drivers. So, I mean, there you have it. That's what I was alluding to. So your race leader, I mean, if he has one or two of those moments, you could see Jeffrey Vandervoort having to come from behind instead of the comfortable lead that he finds himself having at this point in time. Lap number 7 out of the 35 scheduled here tonight in the official race distance. I don't even know how many miles that is. It's just a lot. Oh, well, and around goes Cody Terry out of the final corner, just off in the background there. That was pretty neat to see.
The official length of the track is 2.24 miles. So you got to think, 35 laps doesn't sound like a lot, but as they work around this racetrack, that is a lot of turning, a lot of left, a lot of right, and it is rather warm here in sunny California on this Sunday evening. But it's a Sunday stroll right now for Jeff Vandervoort as he continues to hunt through this lap traffic and work his way around this Laguna Seca racetrack, hunting for his first career win here in the RFC NEXTGEN Light Electric K&N Series.
Yeah, I'm going to go back a little bit further through the field, find where there's a little bit more of a grouping together. Brandon Combs sitting in the 8th position, Brian Littleton in 9th, Derek Robinson in his 38 machine sitting right there in 10th. And then you've got Brandon Medford, Thomas Light. Oh, and around goes Gordon Larson Jr. just in front of all of these drivers. So Gordon Larson Jr. with a big moment. He's going to fall through the field now all the way back to, oh, Lord, I don't even know. I think somewhere around, I'm not sure.
Dave, we just saw Jeff Vandervoort get in some trouble. He's got some heavy damage to the right front of that race car. Got into the 08 machine. I'm trying to look down my list. David Schmidt Jr., a big pile up there in the corkscrew, and our leader has some damage to the right front of that race car.
Yeah, we'll take a look back here, see if we can't see what happened between David Schmidt Jr. and your race leader there. You see him off track. And not quite catching it. I don't believe we're going to be able to get that one. Nonetheless, we'll go back live with your race leader as he makes his way around Lance Yancey, putting him a lap down. Then not too far in front of Lance, I believe that is going to be Damon Cox, who is vulnerable of going a lap down here as well very, very early. And we've still got green flag pit stops where these drivers are going to have to load up and get onto pit road. That's going to be a whole nother beast and a whole nother battle all to itself.
Yeah, Dave, and the entrance to pit road may be the sharpest turn on the entire racetrack, as we'll definitely have to pay attention to that. I'm trying to go back and see. Of course, we had that trouble at the start of the race. Steve Baker, second quickest in qualifying. He is the first car one lap down. Not sure what happened with Steve Baker. Well, let's see if we can't get with the officials and figure out why that happened.
Yeah, and it looks like on the start of the race on the grid, he had to pull over. There was a moment. I'm not sure if he had to come down pit road there at the beginning of the race to maybe fix the transponder or something like that. But nonetheless, as you alluded to, Steve Baker, second quickest in qualifying, but now finding himself the first car one lap down.
Yeah, and Dave, at a racetrack like this with no full course cautions, his day is very, very, let's just say, behind the 8 ball.
Well, I'll go ahead and say it like it is. His day's pretty much done for. Not going to walk away with a podium unless there's some big-time catastrophe. And, oh, Gordon Larson Jr. coming back on track. Leaders having to avoid him there that could have been very dangerous for Jeffrey Vandervoort's day as he continues to dominate here early at Laguna Seca. Now back uphill, digging, getting real close to that 57 of Damon Cox now on the uphill. Damon going to move out the way, give the race leader the racing line as he heads down into the corkscrew.
Yeah, down into that corkscrew, and he's kind of changed his line. He's going out a lot further. Well, this time he sucks it in. But the last 2 laps in that corkscrew, he'd been going way to the outside of that corkscrew, but this time tightens it in. Looks like trouble for Brandon Mifford. He looks like he's off the racetrack.
Yeah, gonna go back a little further once again, and something about Brian Littleton's car, it's not really liking the connection here at Laguna Seca. You can see him flashing right there in the background, just briefly. Oh my goodness. And looks like we may have some technical woes here. Gonna see if we can't get this figured out and fixed up for you here briefly. Hold on for me. Cody, take it away for 1 second if you don't mind.
Yeah, while he works on that, it looks like our points leader, Chris Mefford, he's in some trouble. He dove down into the corkscrew and totally missed the second turn and off and up against the wall. So the current points leader finds himself in a pickle as we continue to watch Jeff Vandervoort dominate this race so far. Only 26 circuits left here at Laguna Seca. He continues to hold down the lead over K.D. Osmond. Troy Radford rounding out the top 3. Top 5 is Gordon Larson Jr. And then, of course, Chris Mefford was running in the 5th spot. Still is 5th, even though that spin. And then rookie Jimmy Hendrick 6th. Chuck Mobley 7th. Brandon Combs in 8th. 9th is Brian Littleton. And Thomas Light rounds out the top 10.
Yeah, still trying to work through some of these computer issues and woes. So we're going to break away for a brief commercial break. We'll keep Cody on the mic with you. We'll let you hear all the action, but we're going to break the video for just a brief moment. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned in for all your audio racing action here on Turn 3 Racing Network.
Continuing to see Jeff Vandervoort work his way through this racetrack here at Laguna Seca. First trip for the RFC NEXTGEN Light Electric Series, Arca Series. So far, it has been all that U.S. Army 72, quickest in practice, quickest in qualifying, and he is dominating right now. Other battles on the racetrack, you've got some tight racing going on further back into the pack. You go all the way back to Rick Reiner, who had some trouble earlier in that Bass Pro Shops number 19 machine. He is battling on the back door of Melvin Young right now. Also the 84 machine of Chris Mefford, who's back running, even though he had some trouble early in the race. He is battling in that 5th spot. So battles all over this racetrack. And once again, we thank you for watching us here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. It is race number 4 of the 2020 RFC NEXTGEN Light Electric Company Arca Series, and we are at Laguna Seca.
Yes, we are, and I know you caught me clearing my throat there. Oops, didn't have the mic muted, Cody. Appreciate you keeping all the viewers out there up to speed with what's going on track. Seem to have those little glitches, issues worked out at this point in time, so we'll continue to watch the drivers. And just as I say that, wouldn't you know, it rears its ugly head again. So we'll see if we can't do something differently with this. Nonetheless, Jeffrey Vandervoort still leading the field out there today. No issues for him so far as he continues to lead this race. Lap number 12 underway now.
Yeah, Jeffrey Vandervoort, so smooth, and if you watch him around this racetrack, I feel like he keeps getting better each lap. Of course, with a road course, you talk about consistency, you talk about momentum, and right now he has all that as he has opened up an 11-second advantage to K.D. Osmond, and you have to go all the way back to 22 seconds to Troy Radford. So right now, hit your marks, get on and off pit road solidly. And right now, Jeff Vandervoort, as long as he can keep that 72 Army Chevrolet smooth, he's going to be okay as he works through lap traffic.
And still trying to figure out what's going on here. So we're going to break away once again as Cody continues to call the race for you. And that's what's good about having your good buddy up here on another viewing system. They're able to keep track of what's going on. So we're going to break away for just a moment. Don't go anywhere. We will be still live audio for you here from Laguna Seca.
We go back to the racetrack as we work on our video editions, and it looks like Melvin Young with some trouble. Melvin Young looks like he is off the racetrack. Not sure if Joshua Cogdell was in on that wreck or not as we go back and watch that replay. Looks like just simply off the racetrack. So we'll go back and check up with our leader, Jeff Vandervoort, working methodically through the tail end of this field as we have 24 laps to go. He is currently showing the way, has been showing the way for just joining us here with this very unique racetrack. Not really what I would call a stock car road course at all, because these heavyweight Arca Menard Chevrolets are not meant to take real sharp turns, and this racetrack is full of them with at least 11 turns so far around this circuit. But 35 laps is what we have as a full distance race. 23 of those are on the board now, and it's been all Jeff Vandervoort so far.
Yes, it has, as Vandervoort continues to lead the race, and nobody even close to him. About 12.5 seconds over Dale Osmond, and then another 11.5 seconds back to Troy Radford. Chris Medford, the points leader in his 84 machine, about another, 20 seconds or so behind him. So big gap between your top four as we continue to race around the track. Brian Littleton still trying to pass Chuck Mobley, still not able to quite get that job done just yet as they run up onto a few of the back markers here. The 19 of Rick Reinert down a lap, or hanging on to the tail end of the lead lap. Damon Cox right there with him as well.
Yeah, those two battling each other right in front of Chuck Mobley. Mobley, of course, he is racing back there in that 8th spot. They worked on the bottom underneath the Damon Cox. Of course, right now, if you look at the point standings, Chris Medford, he's having a really good day compared to our second-place driver in points coming in, Lance Yancey. He had early trouble. He's all the way back to 18th. Steve Baker, he is on the racetrack. He's 16th right now. And then, of course, Roy Hyde came in 5th in points into this race. He's in the 15th. So right now, points is a very important thing for Chris Medford, because he could leave Laguna Seca in really good position when we go to Indy next week.
And I'm not sure we've seen too wide on the entry of a corner very often there in that left-hander before the uphill on your run to the chicane, but Brian Littleton putting it inside of the 19 of Rick Reinert. He's going to continue on up the hill and try to take that 7th spot, or 8th spot, I should say, away from Chuck Mobley. Littleton in that 80 machine having a pretty decent day, not known for the road course racing, but Littleton with a top 10 right now, so hats off to him and his 80 crew.
Yeah, he's working in on the back bumper of Chuck Mobley. See if he can't make one of these turns work in his Michelob Ultra machine as he gets a little closer as they work through this road course. Hard on the brakes, hard into that left-hand turn, coming off of turn 11. And then coming up here to cross off lap number 22. We'll see what he can do as they go down into turn 1.
Yeah, and these drivers, I mean, that's a tough corner. You got to get it woed up so much, and then you got to come back up through the gears without spinning the tires, and then back hard on the brakes downhill into turn 1 and 2. So that is, in my opinion, one of the trickiest parts of the track besides that left-right downhill chicane.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Dave. And these cars, I mentioned, they are heavy. This is not an Indy car. These things, it takes a lot to get these cars slowed down. At some points on this racetrack, they might be reaching 75, 80 miles per hour, and you have to bring over 2,200 pounds to a complete halt. It's a hard job, and it's hard on the equipment too. So you're having to manage that equipment. As I'm seeing on my radar off to the left side, Gordon Larson Jr., I do believe he's went off the racetrack.
Yeah, and it looks like Gordon Larson Jr. with another off-track excursion, and quite a few drivers have had some off-track incidents. Damon Cox looks like he's going to bring it down pit road. Not sure if that's for damage or not. We'll keep our eye on the timing and scoring as we are watching the 98 of Thomas Light trying to keep his machine out in front of the 83 of Brandon Medford, and that rear bumper cover of Thomas Light is still flapping in the wind. That cannot be good for the aerodynamicals of the racing car. And now going to yield that position to the 83 down into the final corner. And I'm not sure how long he's going to be able to go with that thing. I mean, Heck, he's won half of the race, though, without it falling off.
Yeah, just kind of hanging on to it. You mentioned it helps. It helps not going over 90 mile an hour. But I tell you what, I know we talked about earlier the second quickest driver in practice and qualifying was Steve Baker. Finds himself a lap down. He is on the back bumper now of our leader, Jeff Vandervoort. And now Jeff starts to pull away as I say that. But Steve was making a run on him. It looked like he was going to unlap himself, which would have been great. But now it looks like Jeff Vandervoort's going to start slipping away as he works through lap traffic. And we now only have 14 drivers on the lead lap as we have 20 laps to go.
Yeah, a lot of drivers multiple laps down. Well, not multiple laps down, but way down behind the race leader as Vandervoort continues to just dominate today's race. And still keeping our eye back here on this battle between the 76 and the 80. They haven't sorted things out just quite yet. About a half a second separates these two drivers as they continue their battle around this very technical road course.
Yeah, and right now Chuck Mobley has the advantage. He has the preferred line, but it's going to take one real good downshift and possibly for Brian Littleton to move up into that spot. And here we go. He works on the back bumper into this hard left-hand turn 11. Coming to the front straightaway, he got within about a half a car length, but now he's going to lose ground. And Dave, if you can get off one of these turns real good, you can pull a driver, and that's going to help you getting into that next turn.
That it will. It's almost a chess match when you're road course racing. You set up one corner to make the pass maybe 2 or 3 corners later. It's not always what you're doing in that particular corner that's going to give you the pass on the car in front of you. Look for maybe Littleton this time by into that final corner if he's close enough, maybe to test the waters a little bit more, get Mobley thinking about the late braking a little bit more, and then possibly have him make a mistake, maybe brake a little bit later himself, and that may open up the door for Brian Littleton as those two continue their battle for the 7th and 8th position. Looking through the time and scoring, though, Cody, looks like don't have very many close battles. I believe this is the closest battle on track.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Dave. We're starting to maybe see some green flag pit stops. I seen that Jimmy Hendrick dove on the pit road. David Schmidt Jr., he just now came off the pit road, so we may be starting to see a swing as far as drivers making those green flag pit stops. And as I say that, it looks like Brandon Mifford goes off the racetrack. But Jeff Vandervoort, he is not dove to pit road yet. He's keeping that 72 U.S. Army machine in the win as he leads yet another lap coming in. This time it will be 18 laps to go.
And I think we're going to see most of these drivers that are out on track right now. We'll see them probably around the 14, 13 lap to go mark come down to get their final fresh Ford tires for the final run to the end of today's race. And I mean, it may be a little bit longer for your race leader, Jeffrey Vandervoort. He's got quite a comfortable gap up there at the front. He can slow it down a little bit, give up some time, stay out there a little bit longer, and when these drivers are coming on the pit road, try to hammer out a quick time and try to make the most out of his tires and fuel. So being in that first position right now, definitely an advantage for your race leader.
Yeah, David, I'm surprised his car seems to be handling as good as it is, because if you've got a good look at the right front of that race car, he has some damage from that incident that happened earlier in the corkscrew. And that right front tire looks like it has some kind of real bad vibration to it, but it has not slowed him down hardly at all. He continues to lead. His best lap is still was 1,000th better than everybody else on the racetrack. He's the only one in the 128. So he just continues to tick off the laps, even with damage to the right front of that race car.
Yeah, and that last time by, Cody, as you said, a 1:31.55 to Dale Osmond. Katie Osmond's last lap was a 1:34. As we see multiple drivers hit pit road that time by, looks like Brian Littleton, Chuck Mobley, Brandon Combs, Gordon Larson Jr. all on the pit road that time by. So that's going to give us just 4 cars remaining on the lead lap as Steve Baker makes his way around your race leader. That's going to give us 5 cars left on the lead lap with 17 laps to go here tonight in the Laguna Seca 35.
Yeah, Dave, he unlaps himself at the halfway point. We're officially halfway in this race. Now, that uphill battle for him to maybe come back and win this race, that may be just too steep of a mountain. But if our leader gets on pit road here, I don't know if Steve Baker was able to get on pit road earlier in this race. I'll have to go back and check and see. But if he did, then he could have a little bit of advantage. We'll just have to see how much time he can make up. But right now, he finds himself as the last car on the lead lap. Still yet to see our leader, Jeff Vandervoort, pull into pit road. Neither has the top 4 race cars on the track.
And the closest drivers to your race leader, Jeffrey Vandervoort, right now is Steve Baker in the lap machine of the 38 of Derek Robinson, running in the 6th position. So it's not just Vandervoort that's extending this first stint. Dale Osmond, Troy Radford, Chris Medford, all extending their first stint here, going a little bit past the halfway point as your race leader, Vandervoort, pulls it to a slow and onto pit road, very close at that final cone for your race leader on the pit road, as we'll go back now and continue to watch your second place runner, KD Osmond. And this just lets you see how far behind the rest of the field is. Your race leader already on the pit road now, just now. Osmond down onto pit road. He woes his machine up, makes the left-hand turn, and now he is just now onto pit road, almost 30 seconds behind your race leader.
Yeah, and I'm watching the race tracker at the bottom right of the screen, seeing if our other drivers are going to be able to catch up, maybe pass Vandervoort, and it doesn't look so, Dave. It looks like he is going to come off of pit road and hang on to the race lead. A good pit stop for that crew, and that could be the winning stop as long as he avoids any trouble.
Yeah, and he is already leaving the pit as Chris Medford. We watch him in the 4th position. He's going to come to pit road this time by. We'll wait and see what Steve Baker does. Baker only in the middle of the course, going down to that downhill chicane. So, I mean, that just lets you know how spread out the front of this field is.
Yeah, and it was a very, very fast-paced start to this race. Jeff Vandervoort took off into turn 1, had the advantage, and I know each week we've talked about track position. Well, track position could have been the difference maker because he has simply had nobody get close enough to challenge him.
Yeah, other than in turn 1, there was nobody around Jeffrey Vandervoort, and that's always a good thing, especially when you're turning left and right, not to have the distraction of another car right on your bumper or just right in front of you. And after these green flag pit stops, man, he continues to just pick them up and put them down. Only 11 cars being shown on the lead lap as your race leader, Jeffrey Vandervoort, closes on the 80, goes to the inside, puts the 81 lap down. So now we're going to be left with only about 7 cars, I believe, now left on the lead lap.
Yeah, and once again, it looks like Steve Baker is going to be the last car on the lead lap as I'm looking at my telestrator now, as Jeffrey Vandervoort just simply moves through this field. Almost now a full lap ahead of everybody. He is on lap 20, where you go back to KD Osmond. He's just now hitting lap 20.
Yeah, a big-time gap for that race leader. He's got a world of time to give up if he needs to, just to kind of take it easy and ride this thing on out as we watch our closest battle on track right now. Jimmy Hetrick, Gordon Larson Jr., Brandon Combs, that is 5th, 6th, and 7th on the track respectively. And Brandon Combs, he is sitting, I believe, the last car on the lead lap. So Jeffrey Vandervoort, your race leader there, you see him just now cresting the top of the hill for the chicane. The rest of these drivers gonna have to get on the gas if they're gonna want to finish on the lead lap here today. 35 laps for the Laguna Seca 35, and we've got, oh my goodness, only about 15 laps remaining. Cody, it has been an absolute barn burner. Some drivers with some off-track issues, some crashing issues, some sliding through the sand issues. It has been one wild race, but nonetheless, Jeffrey Vandervoort hasn't had to deal with any of it.
No, he hasn't. I just seen Jimmy Hetrick go off of the racetrack right in front of Brandon Combs and Gordon Larson Jr. Not exactly sure what happened there, but I was going to say, he was talking about drivers having trouble going off the racetrack and on. It was the very first turn of the race. Brandon Combs simply just went off the racetrack with a little bit of help, and he's rallied that race car all the way back to 5th. So hats off to that team. And now he's got a rear view mirror. Don't look now, but here comes Steve Baker. Baker, who pretty much started at the tail end of the field, he's hunting for a top 5 as he's working on the back door of Brandon Combs. And as I say that, he's around him in a turn 5.
And I'm watching a little bit further back through the field as Jimmy Hetrick out after that off-track excursion is trying to keep the race leader, Jeffrey Vandervoort, behind him. So that may slow up Vandervoort just a little bit. I don't think Hetrick's going to just roll over and give him the spot because he's got a few drivers just in front of him for position. Gordon Larson Jr., Brandon Combs, Steve Baker, all right there, still within striking distance. Your leader looking to the inside through the carousel. Not going to take the spot just yet as Hetrick continues the battle to stay on the lead lap.
Yeah, Jimmy Hetrick now going to give the inside to Jeff Vandervoort. Vandervoort's going to take it hard on the brakes into turn number 11 around. And, almost locking up the brakes with Jimmy Hetrick. But our leader, Jeff Vandervoort, now laps the 8th place machine. And now he hunts for Gordon Larson Jr. into turn 1.
Yeah, and it's going to happen, and it's going to happen quick. Jeffrey Vandervoort's going to run up on the rear of a lot of these drivers. And, I mean, he's putting almost the entire field except the top 5 down a lap.
Yeah, and he's prowling right now on Gordon Larson Jr. as the top 7 cars, the only ones on the lead lap, and it is almost... You take a look at the gap between 1st and 2nd, and it is a 25-second gap. It takes about a minute. Well, if you take a look at the times, it takes about a minute and 28 if you go by what Jeff Vandervoort does to go around the track. So the track itself seems to be moving very quickly into the hands of Jeff Vandervoort, as right now he works on the back bumper of Brandon Combs.
And I believe he's slowly going to make his way up and try to get around this 0-1 of Gordon Larson Jr., then set his sights on Brandon Combs, or I may be just a little bit behind you. We'll make sure double-click the live stat button for you there. Yes, indeed, now making his way around that 0-1 of Gordon Larson Jr. Going to now go up there, try to see if he can't put Brandon Combs 1 lap down and leave just 5 cars on the lead lap. And it's going to be close because Steve Baker, there you see just in the foreground, he is not that far in front of your race leader.
Yeah, and you got to think, if anybody's going to try to stay on the lead lap, it's going to be Steve Baker. He is the only car that I have seen physically on the racetrack that could run door-to-door with Vandervoort and run him down. As I mentioned earlier, he tried to unlap himself before that round of pit stops, but right now he's under the pressure, but Brandon Combs is in between them both.
Yeah, and I looking through the fastest times of the race, and it looks like he's the only driver to get down in that 128 division with Jeffrey Vandervoort, but still about 7/10 off of the quickest lap for Baker. So, I mean, as you said there, Cody, yes, he's the only driver to put down the lap times that are comparative to that 72, but the 72 still at that in a class of his own, really.
Yeah, and he's just simply putting down laps. We've got 12 laps to go. He is pretty much out of the picture as far as any kind of challenge for the lead. So right now that crew chief and a rookie making a veteran move, Brandon Combs moves over and lets Jeff Vandervoort go by. That crew chief's got to be in his ear saying, hey, this one's in the bag, hit your marks, let's take it home.
Yeah, just hit your marks, bring it on home. Eggshell the throttle still. No need to worry about anything, man. Just Sunday drive that thing on home, and we'll head off into victory lane and drink some champagne as we watch a battle a little further through the field back in the 8th and 9th position. This is Jimmy Hetrick, Brian Littleton. Oh, close call going into the final corner. Damon Cox off track there in the sand. Both of those drivers going to go around as Hetrick gets a better run off of that final corner, cresting the hill as Littleton continues to try to take that spot away.
Yeah, and coming into this, Dirty Air Racing had the points lead over Falcon Motorsports. Just barely, but I'm telling you, it has been a rough day so far for Dirty Air Racing. All kinds of trouble for that team all the way around. And Dave, I think that team's going to be ready to get to Indy next week.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe the name is somewhat alluding to the skill. Dirty Air's more prevalent and prominent in the ovals for these Light Electric Company, Arca Menards, K&N Series drivers than it is at road courses. So none of these Dirty Air Racing or Muddy Water Motorsports drivers, their affiliate team, neither one of those stable of drivers really known for the road coursing racing ability. Road coursing, that's awesome, huh? Road coursing, that's what we're going to call this from now on. It's not road course racing. You know, we're here road coursing today.
I like it. Plenty of road coursing going on for sure today, as there is cars all over this racetrack. I go back and look at Steve Baker. He has moved his way up to fourth. He's put now, it looks like Chris Mefford between him and our leader, Jeff Vandervoort. So right now, Steve Baker, if we had to give away a biggest move of the race, it would have to be him, as we got 10 laps to go.
Yeah, only 10 laps remaining for Vandervoort as he continues to just be light years ahead of the field. That last time by a 1:30.54. Second place, runner Dale Osmond running a 1:35. Troy Radford last time a 1:39.6, but faster than your race leader with his last lap. Steve Baker a 1:29.69. So he was faster than the race leader, but unfortunately he finds himself close to a minute and 20 seconds, almost a lap down.
Yeah, almost a lap down. But I'm telling you what, we came in and we talked in the opening. We haven't seen Katie Osmond or Troy Radford go to victory lane this year. It's been somewhat of a rough go for them. Katie Osmond is 7th in points, and then you have to go all the way down to 33rd in points to try to find Troy Radford. Easy for me to say. You have to go all the way down there to 33rd in points to find Troy. Not what we expected after season one, but this has just showed the intensity level and the competition level here in the RFC NEXTGEN Light Electric Arca Menards Series in season number 2. The entire group seems to be much faster and a whole lot better.
Yeah, and as you were saying about Troy's season so far this season, yeah, I said it. It's redundant. I don't care. Anyways, Radford with trouble in multiple of the 3 races that we already have in the book. So when it happens to you and it happens early, that puts you well behind in the points as far as the standings are for that particular race. And you'll pile 2 out of 3 races not having such a good finish. And that's kind of the way the season has ran for Radford so far in his 49 team at Falcon Motorsports. But today could be the turnaround. I know it's not a race win. It is a podium right now, Cody, but that could be a very big confidence booster for the team coming into a very tough track like this and maintaining a podium finish.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Dave. And you look at the schedule after we leave here, we go to Indy, we go to Chicagoland, and then Homestead. I mean, that just sounds like Troy Radford kind of tracks. They're telling me in the booth that Chris Mefford has some trouble. It looks like Chris Mefford has went off of the racetrack. So our 6th place running car looks like he's had some trouble.
Yeah, and he's dropped the spot. And now after that crash, we'll take a look back, see if we can't see what happened here with that 84 machine. Looks like he's coming, I believe that's the downhill corkscrew, getting ready to get into that corner, and just kind of loops it there. And that's going to allow Brandon Combs to make his way by. Right there, the 28. There you see him ducking to the inside, giving that spot away is Chris Medford. We'll jump back at the front of the field. I tell you what, let's go on board with Troy Radford. We haven't went on board one single time here tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, bear with us. We're going to jump down in the cockpit if we can and ride a lap around Laguna Seca with the 49 of Troy Radford. all the way down to first gear in turns 1 and 2. Man, that's just crazy to see these drivers go all the way down to 50, 40 miles an hour. That is absolutely nuts.
Yeah, Dave, and to see him finesse the wheel, you see how much pressure he's putting on that steering wheel in just one lap around this racetrack, and he now has 6 laps to go as he hauls off into turn 1 so smooth. At some point, Dave, it's kind of like he's in a dirt car. He just slides around these turns here at Laguna Seca.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what you got to do. You kind of got to slide that rear end around just a little bit sometimes in order to get it go in the direction that you want it to go. And, I mean, this has been one crazy race, man. I don't think I've seen a road course race go as smooth per se, especially when you're throwing drivers that are used to just turning left. You're throwing them a curveball and making them turn right as well.
Yeah, and it's a unique race and a unique style for these drivers. And, you know, I think we can go ahead and on my little notepad here, I've highlighted his name and put Road Course Ringer. He has put on a show here for this series. And if you're the other 26 drivers on the racetrack, Dave, when you leave this racetrack, you had better be taking notes at what he has done here this afternoon.
Well, you might want to just go ahead and get the black Sharpie and mark out the ringer and just put King. Because nobody's touching him. I'm not sure, even if he went off course and ripped the whole front clip off, if any of these drivers would still be close enough. I mean, he is just absolutely put a whooping on the rest of the field. Steve Baker, running in the 4th spot as the last car on the lead lap, and he is only about 5 seconds in front of your race leader.
Yeah, and if things would have worked out a little better at the start of the race, those two might have actually been somewhat close enough to put on a show, but something happened at the initial start of the race. But he has definitely been handling this racetrack just methodically, working around. Now, the only car that is in front of him is Steve Baker, but that gap between him and Baker has stayed pretty consistent so far over this 5-lap span here recently once he got around the Brandon Combs machine. He's not been able to put any ground on Steve Baker, but coming to 5 laps to go this time by, there's no doubt he's been the dominant car.
Absolutely. And looking at one of our closer battles on track here, Brandon Combs trying to fend off Chris Medford. That is for the final spot in your top 5. A little bit further back through the field for 13th and 14th. Looks like Thomas Light is battling with Chuck Mobley for that position as well. But we're going to stay with this battle for the 5th spot between Medford and Combs as Vandervoort continues to just lay down the lightning and lead the field. My goodness, what a race it's been for him. What a race it's been for all of these drivers. If you haven't, go ahead, throw them a thumbs up, click subscribe, smash the bell over there on the right-hand side to get notified anytime we go live here on Turn 3 Racing Network. Whether it's myself, Darkside Dave, or my good buddy Cody, maybe it's Muth in the booth, Chris Legue, Rick Hammond, Danny Valenzuela, the Outlaw KR, Stolfus, Big Al, any of us. We do appreciate each and every time you join us, whether it's the fans, the friends, or the family out here that join us. We do appreciate it each and every time you tune in to Turn 3 Racing Network. And man, oh man, it has been one heck of a race. Osmond trying to reel in your race leader, but I don't think he's going to have a big enough fishing pole to reel in that much line.
Definitely not, David. Coming into this race, this was the 15th career start for Jeffrey Vandervoort. He had only led 9. He had led 9 laps in a RFC NEXTGEN Light Electric ARCA Menard Series car coming into this event, his 15th race in the series. And right now, he has led all the way through as we have 5 laps to go here at Laguna Seca. So a career day for him, and he is just trying to hang on to finish it off.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't even know if you've got to say hang on. He's just got to, not blow the engine, really. I think he could probably slow down and just run right around in second gear at this point.
We got to try to build a little bit of suspense now.
Well, the suspense is when's he going to get it done? Is it going to be before 10:30 or is he going to be at 10:32? Because I'm telling you, this man right here, and it's not a knock on any of the drivers here in the Light Electric Company, RFC, Next Gen, Arca Menards, K&N Series. They're all top-notch, top-quality drivers week in and week out. We've seen them battle before. It's just Vandervoort, when he gets on a road course, he is just fast as lightning.
Well, he's definitely been fast as lightning today, and I know Dave mentioned you were to give us a big thumbs up if you're watching tonight. Maybe you're watching for the first time. Oh, and Vandervoort slips into that turn just as we say that. But make sure you go to Facebook. Check us out. When you go to Facebook, you can hit the @ RFC Next Gen. Give the Facebook page a like and keep up with everything we got going on. Of course, Jags does an amazing job keeping the stats, points, keeping everything in line. And everything you want to know about the series you can find on our Facebook page as we get ready to head to Indianapolis next week.
Yeah, that's going to be one heck of a race. Very iconic, historical track. Always brings some great racing action. Things may get a little bit, what's the word? Stretched out. I was going to say sorted out, but of course things always get sorted out eventually. But things may get a little bit stretched out, but we've always seen towards the end of the race at Indy, it seems like all the drivers end up right back with each other. So it's going to be a great race next weekend when we hit Indianapolis Motor Speedway. But, yeah, man, today has just been all about that 72 of Jeffrey Vandervoort.
Yeah, it has. And, you know, what I'm going to be happy about next week, Dave?
No right-handers?
I'm going to be happy to see a yellow flag where we can take a break, get a drink of water, and recuperate. Most of the time we've got a chance to do that under yellow flags, but this has been a non-stop green flag race with the road course rules, and it has definitely played into the hands of Jeffrey Vandervoort.
Well, see, lucky for me, I got my good buddy you over here to help me out through this road course race, coming from a background with a great series, another great series here on iRacing.com, the world's #1 racing simulator, Formula I. They had the F3 cars, the Renault 3.5s, as well as the Williams Mercedes F1 cars. And, man, talking about non-stop talking, that's kind of where I made my bones. So a little bit of a happy moment for me not to have to sit here and talk the entire time through a road course race, but nonetheless, pretty much talking the entire time anyway is what we've got to do because there's action, well, at least cars making left and right-hand turns. Maybe not a lot of action, but still a lot of cars, a lot of business out there.
Well, it looks like we've got 2 laps to go, and there is some action right now as Gordon Larson Jr. Oh, and as I say that, Gordon Larson Jr. and Chris Mefford get together, and that's going to make it interesting. Looks like Brandon Combs may have locked up his first career top 5.
Yeah, both of those drivers with a bit of a moment, and that's going to give Combs about a 3-second gap now in front of Gordon Larson Jr. with only 2 laps to go. So look for Combs to try to bring it home and have his best finish of the season, a top 5. And we'll see if Radford can't have one of his better finishes, as well as Katie Osmond, both of those drivers making it onto the podium spots.
Yeah, and we're starting to see a lot of sportsmanship through the field. I just saw 2 more drivers just move over, realizing that Jeffrey Vandervoort is the leader, giving him room. Thomas Light, Damon Cox both give him room as he is coming around this time. Dave, our leader, rolls out of turn 11. He's going to see the white flag here at Laguna Seca.
Around the final turn and up the hill to the stripe, gonna cross the line. White flag is out here at Laguna Seca. Final lap for your race leader, Jeffrey Vandervoort, who has a very, very comfortable lead, almost a 1-second lead over the second place runner, Katie Osmond. Troy Radford is in third. Steve Baker, after early troubles and a little bit of mishap on the grid, found himself behind a lap very early, but has raced his way back onto the lead lap and has kept himself on the lead lap for the rest of the race. So big shout out to his crew and that driver for being able to have the nerves of steel. And I think if there was an award for that, I don't know what I was gonna say. I kind of lost track there. But if there was an award for perseverance, I guess there you go. Steve Baker would walk away with that.
Most definitely, as our leader now makes his way into the corkscrew for the final time. Turn 7, 8, back into 9. The 72 U.S. Army machine, 15th career start in the ARCA Menards Light Electric K&N Series today. He rolls into this race as maybe the veteran of all these drivers on a road course. And what does he do? He puts himself on the pole. He takes advantage of all 35 laps.
Well, a sweep of the race night for that 72. Fastest in happy hour, fastest in qualifying, around the final corner for the final time. Your race winner, the 72 of Jeffrey Vandervoort, going to cross the line. Going to go back through the field now and take a little look-see at Katie Osmond as he is just now going through the corkscrew. My goodness. That is how big of a gap your race leader had over the second place runner, Katie Osmond. Osmond just now taking that first left-hand turn down into the chicane. So Vandervoort, yeah, he absolutely won this one.
Yeah, I very rarely, in these races I've been announcing with you, I'm yet to see a dominating performance. And today we got to see that firsthand. Jeffrey Vandervoort obviously dominated this race, lapping everybody up until the top 4 and just put on a clinic. And that will be the first win of the season. If you go back and look, that's going to be the first win of the season for HRL Motorsports. That ought to help them because they come into this season, they come into this race at the bottom of the team standings. So first win of the season for HRL Motorsports, got to be tickled. And Jeffrey Vandervoort is a first-time career winner in the RFC NEXTGEN Light Electric ARCA Menards Series.
Yeah, and that is just that is a heck of a job that he's done. I mean, not just to win his first race here in the Light Electric Company RFC NEXTGEN ARCA Menards K&N Series, but to do it in the fashion that he did, absolutely dominating, having a 1-second race lead over Katie Osmond, and then another 5 or 10 seconds back to Troy Radford. I mean, he put on an absolute clinic out there as Osmond and Radford finished their final laps. Man, I tell you what, things are pretty much winding down here. Drivers putting in their final few laps, so we're going to break away for a well-deserved, well-needed commercial break. We're going to get things set up for your post-race driver interview, so don't go anywhere. We will be, well, maybe, we might be, right back.
Welcome back to Laguna Seca Raceway. What a evening we had here tonight. What a road course race we had. And man, oh man, our first road course of the season. We've got our top three finishers rolling out and finishing in the third spot tonight from Falcon Motorsports. Troy Radford. Troy in that number 49 machine for the 14th time finishing in the top five here in the RFC NEXTGEN Light Electric ARCA Menard Series. Troy, a good run, a good solid top three. I know after the last 3 weeks you have been needing a finish like this, and it's a good way to wrap up this road course with a podium finish.
Man, it has been an absolutely brutal couple of weeks. So, I always hate to say that I'm looking forward to a road course, but, your road courses are usually good for a solid top five for me. So, I can't compete with those guys up there with Dale and Jeff, but, I can usually be solid.
Well, Troy, we watched this race unfold, and with no full course cautions, it was all about track position. Jeff kind of got out to an early lead on you all quick, and it was an uphill battle from there.
It was, Jeff is a diehard road course guy, and he's just absolutely phenomenal on them. So, that it's, he's going to have to make a mistake for us to have a chance at it. I'm disappointed in myself in that I think I could have beat Dale, but I was at, probably lap 5 going to pass my first lap car, and I just overcooked it into one, just misjudged it. And, ended up costing myself like 10, 12 seconds. And from there, it's just kind of downhill. So you're not going to catch Dale. He's not going to make mistakes like that. So, it was a little disappointing where I think I could have had a second place. But on the flip side, you got Steve Baker, who had Steve ended up finishing 4th, but had a error with his screen at the beginning of the race and had to start a lap down. So.
Well, I know it's not the finish you'd like being a racer. I know you'd like to be the top of the podium, but you leave Laguna Seca. It's in the rearview mirror. We go to Indy next week. A little bit of momentum compared to what's been the last 3 weeks. A little bit of momentum. I think you'll take that going to Indy.
That's the hope, man. Got to get it turned around somewhere. Hopefully this is it.
Well, Troy, anybody want to thank on the side of that race car before we let you go?
Big one, of course, all the Falcon guys. It's been a hard couple of weeks as far as finishes. We've been having some horrible luck lately. So, a big shout out to them. We've been putting in a lot of hours trying to get stuff turned around. Chris had a good top 5 going and got booted for incident points at the last second tonight. So, I know he's a little frustrated. But, really Falcon guys, of course, National Kidney Foundation, as well as Lucky Fin Project, always on the side of my car. And, thank you guys for coming in and doing what you do. We always enjoy having you.
Our third place finisher tonight, Falcon Motorsports, number 49, Troy Radford. Now we go over to Dave, and I think Dave has our second place finisher tonight. He's got Katie Osmond.
Yeah, I would have liked the top spot, but as soon as I saw his time in practice, I knew I didn't have anything for him. I came in here expecting a top 5, and I was going to be lucky to get like a 3rd or 4th, but Steve had some issues there at the beginning, and so did Troy getting off track. But so I was able to come home 2nd with it, which is really nice.
Yeah, and what would have been really nice is if the fans had been able to hear me ask you that question. Unfortunately, they're not going to get that back. That's 2 minutes of their lives that they just hear you answering a question that they have no idea that I asked. But nonetheless, we'll continue on with the interview. Finally, a good finish for you here this season. You've had a little bit of a rough start the first 3 races. Do you think this gives you any momentum heading into our next few weeks? We hit Indianapolis Motor Speedway next week. What's your thoughts looking forward to that track?
The first 3 races actually haven't been bad. I missed the first 2, but I got some provisional points for those. And I think last week I got a 2nd place. So, 2 seconds on the season, average finish of 2. So I'm doing pretty well. I'm looking forward to Indy. I think it's going to be a good track for me. With my sponsor, Ohio and Indiana Roofing Company, and my teammates behind me, I think we've got a really good shot there.
Well, man, excuse me, sorry about that. Once again, congratulations, great finish out there. not quite where you want it to be. You would have liked to have not been the bridesmaid, but been the bride for this race. But nonetheless, can't hang your head about a second place finish. Before we let you go and enjoy the rest of your evening, would you like to give any shout outs, thank yous, love yous?
Yep. As always, thank you for my teammates. Dustin and Brian were in this race. Brian got a really solid top 10 there. Thank you for my sponsor again. Thank you for my family for watching, and thank you guys for broadcasting.
All right, well, there you have it. Some final few words from the driver walking away in second back-to-back race weekend. That 88 of KD Osmond. And I believe Cody may have had the opportunity to finally catch up with the driver, walking away with a dominant race win. That's 72 of Jeffrey Vandervoort.
Man, Dave, that's exactly right. We're in Gatorade Victory Lane. We just got doused with Gatorade. It is an exciting evening here in the Victory Lane Circle with HRL Motorsports, Jeffrey Vandervoort. Man, coming into this race, 9 laps in your career. You've led 9 laps in the RFC NEXTGEN Light Electric ARCA Menard Series. You add 35 more to that today. What a dominating win, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. It was fun.
So we watched you drive around this racetrack, just so solid. And tell us some of the, some of the real pinpoints. What do you think some of the key things is about getting around this place?
Hit your marks. Hit your marks every time.
Well, as we take a look back at this race, really, from the very first turn, you got an advantage and you didn't look back. I know there was a little bit of a hiccup there in the corkscrew, put a little bit of damage to the right front of that race car. Did that slow that race car down? I mean, visually it didn't look like it, but did it affect the handling at all?
No, 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 it was good.
Well, man, we want to say congratulations. You're the first one out of the HRL Motorsports squad to get a win this year. You're a 4th different runner in the 2020 season. And congratulations, Jeffrey, on the win here at Laguna Seca.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, I wish I could do the same on ovals. It just didn't happen.
Well, man, before we let you go, I know you got some folks you want to thank. Who's some folks you want to give a shout out to?
Well, the whole HRL team, and especially Craig Lerman for keeping this car on the road.
Well, man, we appreciate it. We head to Indy next week, but, man, you are leaving Laguna Seca as a first-time career winner. I know you got to be happy about that.
Oh, yeah, really happy. Yeah, thanks a lot, guys.
There we go, Dave. A first-time career winner in the RFC NEXTGEN Light Electric ARCA Menard Series, and, man, he sounds excited, and the whole HRL Motorsports crew is excited down here in Victory Lane.
Yeah, very, very, very good race for him and his crew. Very good race all around for all of the drivers here in the Light Electric Company RFC NEXTGEN ARCA Menards K&N Series. And, well, not much left for us to do, Cody, except get to our unofficial race results. We'll throw them up on screen for you here. There you have it. There you see it. Well, you see it from the back of the field. Let me see if I can't get it corrected and get you up to speed. There you go. Finally getting it all right and sorted out. Walking away with the race win. The 72 of Jeffrey Vandervoort. Coming home in second, K.D. Osmond in third, Troy Radford. 4th position, last car on the lead lap, the 55 of Steve Baker. 5th position will be the 28 of Brandon Combs, while Gordon Larson Jr. walks away in 6th. 7th place will go to the 80 of Brian Littleton. Jimmy Hetrick gonna finish in 8th. 9th place, Brian Snare, and rounding out your top 10, the 38 of Derek Robinson.
Finishing up in the 11th spot, it was Thomas Light. In the 12th spot, Chuck Mobley. It was Justin Walters finishing 13th for Mason-Dixon Motorsports. Chris Mefford in the 14th spot. Lance Yancey held on to a solid top 15. Eric Blunt, 16th. Brandon Mefford in the 83, he was 17th. Damon Cox came in 18th in the 57. Dustin Ping in number 1 came in 19th. And Rick Reiner rounded out the top 20 in that number 19 machine.
21st position will go to the 00 of Roy Hyde. Melvin Young going to finish in 22nd. 23rd will go to David Schmidt Jr. 24th, the 94 of Joshua Caudle. Cody Terry going to finish in 25th. 26th will be Travis Arthur in rounding out the field. In 27th will be the 93 of Thomas Quattlebaum Jr. That is your unofficial race results from round number 4 here in the Light Electric Company RFC Next Gen Arca Menards K&N Series. Cody, man, it has been one heck of a night once again. It's been a pleasure up here in the booth with you. And I want to give a big shout out to not just yourself, but all the fans, friends, family, viewers coming out and sticking it out with us here at this crazy, crazy road course here at Laguna Seca for the Laguna Seca 35. And, well, nothing left for us to do except wrap things up, unplug the cords, and get ready to head off to Indianapolis. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, do want to wish you well. Stay safe, stay loved. We'll see you next time.